Oh, last day in Florida. Guys, we're going to talk a little bit about PSA and HGA. Stick around. Hello to all my sports card collectors, investors, all of my collectibles friends. Back again. It is my last day here in Florida. Last video in Florida. We are going to talk about some HGA PSA news. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, the like button, the notification buttons, all the bells and the whistles down below. Help to get this video out to the masses so that we can grow the channel. We are closing in on 15,000 subscribers. We only need 14,900 more to go. Kidding. About 600. We just need 600 of our best friends to come and hit that subscribe button. So don't forget the red button below. Milestone for PSA. They graded 1 million cards in March. Can you even fathom the amount of slabs that are just coming through the mail, coming back out into the ecosystem, the sports card ecosystem and non-sports card ecosystem for that matter. But PSA crosses 1 million cards in March, which is absolutely insane to me. But it shows their capacity just growing and growing. We've talked about it before. They've got that East Coast office that is opening in New Jersey. They're opening an office in Japan. There is a lot going on at PSA. And so we continue to see them just kind of cruise through and get through those capacity issues. I think that with the big questions are going to become of price decreases, when do they come, how do they come, and so forth. So we'll be keeping tabs on PSA. Golfer Bubba Watson, famous golfer Bubba Watson, announced that he just bought his first Michael Jordan rookie card, the 86 Fleer, in a PSA 8. And the way that he worded it, it was his first. Didn't necessarily say that it was going to be his last, and he tags it as, a dream card for him. So kind of cool just to hear those sorts of things happening. What's going on with HGA? This was announced a few days back. Tyler, the founder, is stepping down. It looks like he has sold the company to, really don't know much about, Armstrong International. It looks like a big company that is invested in a lot of different areas, and they have decided to add sports cards to the mix. What does that mean for the company? How are they going to revamp it? There's a lot of speculation as to HGA is dead. There's nothing that's going on with HGA. For me, I think it's kind of tough because you've got the big four companies that are already eating up a lot of that market share and gaining ground, doing a lot of good things, whether it be PSA, BGS, SGC, or CSG. And now you've got, HGA kind of on the outside of that. But the one thing is HGA has built a pretty strong fan base over the last 18 months. With PSA and BGS really kind of closed down over the last year, HGA was an option. They've got popular custom labels. And just recently, over the last few months, they've run into some issues where they did slab up, a couple of it was fake cards or trim cards, and it got into the news. I think when you're kind of the newcomer, when you have a mistake or you have a series of mistakes, it is amplified, whereas PSA, SGC, they've been around. When they have mistakes, it's talked about, but it's not as amplified as when you're a new company coming in and you're building trust on that authentication side. Whereas PSA has been doing it a long time. They've got a little bit more leeway, and I would argue the other companies do as well. So HGA is still kind of that company looking in on the big ones. I don't know if they're ever going to really have any serious market share, but is this a new lease on life for HGA? Because Armstrong International didn't buy them, for it to go out of business or to go bankrupt or whatever. Their intention, I would assume, is to build it into, a solid brand and to build on what was already created. So that's going to be really interesting to watch. They are kind of that fifth grading company in the mix of the larger ones. Some would say, HGA is still really new and not very big, but they do have a significant amount of employees in comparison to some of the other new grading companies. And so we'll just have to kind of see how that plays out. But I wouldn't necessarily call it completely a done deal for HGA quite yet. We have to see what this company is going to do. This will be worth watching. What happens with HGA? All right, everybody's been following the whole PSA Marx Cards shenanigans, all the craziness, where essentially this company had, taken cards from a lot of people, and we're talking about $1 million, $2 million in grading fees, a lot of money in grading fees. And then when the grading fees were due up, they didn't have the money to pay PSA, and now you've got just this catastrophe where they're in bankruptcy. And so now there's, we're going into that whole court deal. And there was a recent ruling by a judge essentially not to let the cards go back to the customers as of yet. Now, of course, I'm not an attorney. I'm not even close to one. I don't really know a whole lot about anything, frankly. But these guys are trying to figure it out. There's a lot of speculation as to what does this all mean by a lot of Monday morning quarterbacks. And so by speculating on it is kind of foolish. The way that I've kind of read this is that the judge is essentially saying that, we're just not going to do it right now. It's not to say that the cards are never going back to customers. It's just that right now he or she didn't want to make a ruling on go ahead and send all the cards back. They're still trying to figure things out. And typically what happens in court is everything moves very slowly. A lot of motions, a lot of court dates, a lot of different things going on. It doesn't all happen very quickly, typically, in a court of law. So I think it's just one of those things where we'll report on things as they come, but there's going to be a lot of speculation on each piece of that. And most of us have no idea what any of this means. So until we actually get kind of final ruling and kind of get into the meat of the case, it's not really worth digging too deep into it. But because I'm Carlos, one of my hobby friends, Carlos, on his channel, Because I'm Carlos, had an attorney that specializes in this sort of thing. On his Friday night live stream, if you go to the 90-minute mark, Carlos is famous for doing the 12-hour, 24-hour, whatever, marathon type live streams. So the reason why I'm giving you kind of that timestamp is so that you can kind of skip on through the other stuff if you don't want to listen to it. But right at about the 90-minute mark is where you get Jay coming on and talking more of the legal side of stuff. And this helps shed some light on what's going on. So definitely check that out. Because I'm Carlos live stream. It was yesterday, so Friday's live stream, about the 90-minute mark. All right, guys, thanks very much for tuning in today. I hope you have an amazing day ahead. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.